welcome to YourTown TV in Monterey. It's another beautiful day in our amazing area. And my name is Sofanya. I'm an artist. I live in Big Sur. And I'm very inspired by nature here. And I just wanted to share with you that along with my paintings and sculpture, I have recently developed a line of wearable art where I get to actually share my paintings on dresses and other garments, and relating it to, all my paintings are related to our connection to nature, the universe, to each other, and that all things are connected. So when you wear it, you get to be reminded of that. And my website is sofanya.com. So today I am really honored and excited to interview my dear longtime friend, who is just an amazing human being, Dianne Miller.
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
Hi, welcome. Welcome to me.
I know that you, first of all, maybe you could tell me a little bit about your background, how you grew up, just a little bit about your family. I know your father was a doctor and you were influenced at a young age by dancing.
Yeah, of course my life is completely integrated into who I am now, and my childhood is integrated into who I am now and what I've done all my life. So I was very, very fortunate, very, very lucky. I grew up, yes, my dad was an MD, an abdominal surgeon, and my mother was a painter. Mm-hmm. And I was even more fortunate that he started taking LSD back in the 60s with names I could drop, and decided to stop all but emergency surgery. So if somebody came into Bellevue with a knife in their belly, of course he's going to operate. But if it was cancer or something more manageable, then he developed into the place where, with a number of other doctors, he helped found the American Medical Association or Medical Society for Clinical Hypnosis, the AMA for Clinical Hypnosis.
Oh.
And so in the meantime, he's teaching me how to make clouds disappear out of the sky and put needles through my hand without bleeding and
really
or being hurt. Well, it's basic hypnosis, you know. I mean, he's a doctor, so that gives him a lot of authority. He's my father, so he's got all the authority. Mm-hmm. And he said I could do it, and I believe him.
So what a great start.
It was a wonderful start. I was very, 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 very lucky.
And your mom was a painter.
An incredible painter.
I've seen some of her paintings. They're amazing. Really beautiful, deep, very emotional.
Very, very advanced. It was wonderful to watch her advance, you know, from the 50s through to where she finally died, painting insane self-portraits. I had two sisters, and we all took ballet classes.
Right, that's what I wanted to ask you about. So your dance started then?
At 3.
3? Wow.
At 3. And so that was an enormous amount of my life, was just movement, which is dance. I live in a world of movement and dance, and I was very fortunate. That fortune ended when my sister passed away. She was 29, and she left me a 15-month-old baby. I was living at Esalen at the time, and the cameras, whoever is out there watching, at that time, they're interested in Esalen. People are interested in Esalen. And I lived on property about 15 years, and that's where she died. And so I adopted the baby, and when I adopted the baby, there was some troubles in the family, like all families have troubles, right? I think, was it Dostoevsky or Tolstoy? Somebody said all families are happy in the same way, and unhappy families are unhappy in their own way. So we had our own way. So when I adopted the baby, they let go of me. Oh. And then I was on my own.
Okay, and
no more Broadway shows. no more ballet.
Right. But
Except
then you became a Gestalt therapist?
Well, I came to Esalen. I was always pursuing my education at some point. I was at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. My father called up and he said, "You're not participating in all that, in all the." We were striking the school at that time. It was '68. And as he was speaking, a tear gas canister came in through the window. And it's occurred to me.
Wow.
It occurred to me, that he was paying tuition for me to be striking the school. So a bunch of my friends and I, there in the '60s, got into a VW van and came out to California. And I went to Esalen, and it was the most beautiful place when I woke up in there. It was so gorgeous.
You were one
Big
of the
Sur.
original people at Esalen.
No, it had been going on about 10 years when I got there.
Well, that's pretty early on, though.
And Huxley was almost done being built, which is this great, huge dance floor on the edge of the ocean. So it was perfect.
Wow.
And the big, huge emerald green grassy lawns going down to the ocean, and the hot tubs.
And the ocean view.
Since I was half crazed from my incredible, wonderful, lucky family, the hot tubs helped a lot, and the therapy, But at that time, it was Huxley, and so I would go in there and I would dance, like say, Jealousy all night long, and in the morning I wasn't anymore.
Oh.
And so when Will Schutz started a training program, I went to Schutzy Baby, and I said, I want to study with you because I think that movement, you can dance something until you're done with it and move on. And he said, "Oh, you don't want me, you want Anna Halpern." She discovered that 50 years ago. And so she had. And when she came to visit, I took her class, and I've been dealing with my work through her work, and I've been a student and a teacher of hers for the last 50 years. So this is my Gestalt movement. That's how it happened. 2 years of intensive training, 40 years of always training with her. And Dick Price, who is one of the founders of Esalen and my Gestalt, one of my Gestalt teachers. That's background.
Wow.
You asked for background.
I'd like to hear a little bit more about, you called the Gestalt movement something else also earlier today.
Well, I'm calling it Gestalt movement because I'm an in-house Gestaltist. Right. So people come from Esalen from all over the world.
Yeah.
All over. And many, many people know Anna's work, and it's called the Life Art Process.
The Life
and
Art Process.
And it is, what I do is her work, the Life Art Process.
Right.
But I simply, and collective creativity. But I used Gestalt movement because it's more of a catchy phrase, and it captures exactly what we're doing there.
So how does that look, when, let's say, you have either a single person or a group of people? How do you help them process through, whether it's anger, jealousy, love,
perplexity,
all of those, and any or all of the above and more?
Well, the human body is what we all have in common. It's our instrument. Whether we sing or write or draw or dream or dance, and all of these things we do in Gestalt movement, including dreaming. Everything. It comes through the body. The body, it took thousands, millions of years to evolve into the human body. So that alone, this stardust that we are, this complex, advanced machine that we are, holds everything: our spirit, our love, our anger, or whatever horrible things there are. And so that comes through the body. And so the Life Art Process uses the body to work with all of these emotions that are, and all of this art that pours forth out of us. So we talk to our friends, of course. We talk to each other. You and I certainly know that. So we draw, we write, we dance the drawing, we dance the writing. It's Anna first started working with Fritz Perls because he wanted to add movement to the Gestalt, and she wasn't really into that. She's much more into theater, but the theater became so real working with Fritz and at Esalen that the theater became therapy because it's just so real. And so you actually move on.
So
what do I mean by real?
If a person is
these glasses are very real.
But then there's something even more real than that.
I don't know. What do you mean?
Well, what I mean is, I guess the question I had in my mind earlier is, in the process of this experience that you are teaching and sharing, do people often, are they surprised by what they feel? So you start with something and then maybe even more emotion, because I have the feeling that as human beings, we have the capacity to feel and experience so much more than we do normally, that we are aware of, and that's something that you can stretch and maybe dig into and find deeper the core, either the core issues, the woundedness, and on the other side of it, the sheer joy that you can experience of being alive. So in your process...
You asked the question. That's what we do.
Oh.
Yeah.
And...
Are you asking for like a specific structure or something like that? Like first we'll do this when you walk in the room and then we'll do that when we walk in the room?
Maybe you can talk a little bit about how and where someone might come to you to experience this. Go to Esalen or...
Well, presently I work mostly at Esalen. You know, my favorite job, of course, is the juvenile hall with the emotionally disturbed kids. And I guess it's good to throw in there. I'm working on a master's in education at the moment. You said to mention that. But...
well, let's hear a little bit more about that.
Nah.
Yeah, working with the special...
The work that we do is, you know, it's really always going on, you know. I mean, I'm trying to stay exactly with your question, and also thinking of something else. So.
Well, does the Gestalt experience that you have enter into your ability to work with children, and as an educator?
Well, sure. Gestalt is simply it's very simple. It's one of the most easiest forms of psychotherapy that can involve all the other forms through the life art process. But it's simply being very conscious of the present, of what's going on, of somebody's true feelings, and then there's many techniques to help. The best technique is to simply be there and be very, very real. Mm-hmm. And then that person has the time and the opportunity to be real back. Mm-hmm. So with the children, of course, I have to work with them since I'm working when I work with them as a teacher, with emotionally disturbed kids, through specific, you know, whether it's learning how to read or doing math or whatever. So you have to make complete contact, and all of the Gestalt techniques come into that. I mean, there's an overlap between, you know, psychology and working with children, of course. I was shocked when I found out that in order to get a master's, or the teachers aren't trained in child psychopathology or child psychology. Those aren't required courses. Mm-hmm. I may be wrong, but I don't think so.
What are you studying now? Are you going for your master's?
Well, right now, you know, as you know, my partner is dealing with cancer, and so I took a semester off, and I'm developing a routine around taking care of that. Mm-hmm. But it's, you know, it's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 more classes to take.
Mm-hmm. And then you'll graduate with?
Master's in education.
Yeah, you will. I know you. You're one of those people who you keep going, you're persistent.
Well, I've taken this. I just looked at the classes I took, and there's so many of them, and I did so well. It's like, you can't stop now. You know, you might as well finish this up. But you know, one thing we were talking about, and I think what we could bring it back to this is ritual then, because like this is a sort of a ritual. You know, it's all set up This is how we do it. And in dancing, this is old-fashioned to anybody in the field, but you know, people used to dance for rain. They used to dance if they needed courage. They used to dance if they for birth and for death and for everything big. You know, they would come together and they had community rituals to bring the community and to all dance together.
I love that. You know, we used to have a lot more of that in Big Sur, I think. Very ritualistic dance and drumming, and I think we should do that more often. Or maybe you do at Esalen still, but in our community. Part
of the community ritual is sometimes it gets, you know, stultified. Is that the word I'm looking for? It's like you're supposed to do this and then you're supposed to do that. And I prefer the kind of ritual that happens with each human being or with each group or with each group coming together for a particular focus. Like you had one the other day to celebrate rain, wanting rain, you know, and people come together to come together because we need to feel each other. We need to understand that that your kind of movement and your thought and your feelings are different than ours, and here's where we meet. And they create their own rituals. So it doesn't always have to be the same. My teacher, Anna, has the planetary dance, which she does every year, and she feels this is her legacy. One of her great legacies is that, you know, people dancing this way and then that way and then this way for a specific thing. And of course, I would never question her legacy or how she's structuring it to go on. But I also know she would completely agree, and that each place has to develop its own rituals, has to develop its own way of dancing and celebrating its own reasons for coming together and to dance. So
what a beautiful thing,
it's a way of how to express those emotions. I mean, we all have these emotions, so the Gestalt movement and collective creativity is all about a way of processing it to integrate it.
Well, and it makes me wonder, you know, in this day...
In the process, and it is the integration itself. I don't want to say it's something that happens later. It's all at the same time, yes?
But what a healing, what a healing for each individual and as a group, when a group comes together, or a community. Or maybe, you know, maybe this is something we need more of in this day and age where things are becoming more divided. And in order to recognize how we are united, how we're all connected through music, art, dance, speaking, sharing.
And it's interesting you should say that, because isn't that what healing is? A healing is a coming together. We can't Google it. But it's a coming together. It's a unification. That's when people feel better.
Yeah.
When they're able to authentically, when they feel heard, and something good is done with it and with other people.
Feeling heard is. Thank you for all the work you've been doing all these years. You know that I know you as a very generous person with your ability to care. You're a very, very caring person, and educated and spiritual, and I really honor you. And feel very, very blessed and grateful that you're here today to share some of that. And I hope we can continue that discussion.
Are we running out of time?
Well, do you want to, is there something
No,
else
is that why you're saying that?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you because, you know, to be continued in the future.
I can only say the same to you, Sofanya, and I watched back in the green room while you interviewed people, and here's another great talent of yours. You just constantly amaze me. So it's not only in the kitchen when we sit and we talk, but you do this with everybody all the time. I'm glad they put it on TV. That's a pretty good idea.
Next thing.